All right, you guys,
Actually,
it
it's
is
good on the
portfolio review time. So the first one that we have pulled up here is Jess's site. So again, loving the iconic look of what you're doing here. I do think, though, however, that it needs your name as an accompaniment. I don't know if that's a next step,
underneath it.
right? So like it in this, it has almost kind of like a square shaped dimension here, which is going to make your header pretty big. You're using a lot of this space here. What I might recommend for you is putting your name, like maybe right up here in this area.
Okay.
And then your navigation will be, moved up with that. And then maybe featuring that logo kind of somewhere, or the iconic aspect of it somewhere in this large banner image in an interesting sort of way. That way it's not pushing down your content so far.
Yeah.
Just an idea. Again, I know you guys are working on this portfolio in a constant sort of living, breathing entity kind of way. You are just at Portfolio 3. You've got to get all the way out through Portfolio 7. So there's so much that's going to happen between now and then. The ideas and things that I'm sharing with you are just for its next iteration. Maybe not its forever iteration, or what you consider to be the most perfect iteration, but just positive movement in the right direction. So I'm scrolling down. So sometimes a designer, mostly just confused. I love that you've done this, because we talked about what's the text, like, how can I showcase my personality here, and give people kind of a nice introduction as to kind of this very multi-dimensional person that I am, and creative and professional that I'm becoming, right? So it's cool that you've got your social media here. It looks like it's linking out to other places on the web where we can get in touch. At this point, I would definitely say that this should be proudly created by Jessica and not Wix.
Because I did change a lot.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and the copyright should be to you at this point for sure. Gonna jump here to so that's the home page. Gonna go next to the work page.
This keeps happening.
What
if
is
you
it?
refresh right now, look at how the icons change. I don't know what to do. Like, they're supposed to be like that. But every time you load it the first time, they come up big and fat like that.
I don't know, Wix is glitchy, you guys.
Yeah.
It's glitchy because they let you do so much in terms of custom placement and all kinds of design and shape. So there's like lots of layers and lots of scripting that's going on there that is being defined by the editor that you're using. So I honestly don't know what to tell you about it.
Maybe I should like try and just redo the whole page.
That might be a better idea, starting from scratch, and as opposed to revisiting something that you had it a previous way.
Yeah.
So here we've got the various service offerings, so photography, graphic design, video portraits, and written work. What I might say here is, instead of just having these large kind of buttons or text tiles, if you will, what if you had sections for this, right? So that like I get like a bit of teaser content for each one of these areas, because if I don't know what you do or what you're capable of doing, I really have to like poke through so many places to get a sense of it, versus if this is kind of like this smorgasbord page where it's not all of your work here, but maybe it's one featured product or project for each one, so that I'm like, oh damn, look at her photography, and it kind of steers me. It just gives me more information to know how I want to spend my time exploring this site.
Okay.
And you think about, you want to minimize or lessen the amount of clicks a user has to go through to get potentially what they're looking for.
I was considering, and I wasn't sure because I wanted your feedback first. I don't have like the parallax scrolling on any other pages, but I was thinking of doing it just in this work section, where I have like this header that shows you where to go, and then it just brings you down the page, and that way if you just wanted to keep scrolling through the page, you could see everything that way. So I might play around with that and do it. And
I mean, there's so many, there's just countless ways that you could approach this. But what I'd like for you to focus on and keep in mind is, not making people dig,
okay.
right?
I have a tendency to build sites like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So
Okay.
make it so that and potentially this could even happen here on the home page too, right? Because there's still not a lot of content here.
Yeah.
right? You haven't shared a terrific amount in this high value real estate area. So maybe under here something like featured projects, or like a featured case study, or something that more immediately, because here's one click, I don't really know. I mean, I get this kind of text version of what you do, but I haven't seen anything yet. And the seeing is the powerful part of the portfolio. So just going to jump back over to work and then to photography. That's interesting. So like I'm clicking here on this, but it's the word itself.
Yeah.
That's the button.
Yeah.
But like you've made me think that this is a button because of the shape. So that's kind of counterintuitive.
Okay.
So you could probably make both of these buttons.
Yeah, I think
if you group them.
Yeah.
I would.
And I think it just becomes one thing.
Okay. Photography. So here we've got just an awesome kind of collage type page here. I love that when I hover over them, I'm getting just more context to understand these images. I'm going to click one, brings it up in sort of a light box effect, it's singling it out, which is nice. And then I can share these things in these various areas or flip through this way. I mean, I think all that works nicely, for a photography page here. Notice how now I have to go back to work and then make another election at this point. So graphic design. So here, same sort of thing, like I hover over them and I get the information. I'm going to go ahead and select Girl Power Games. So here, I would again like provide, if you can, more of a write-up as to what you've done, right? So like, I developed this logo and brand as part of a project where I was creating such and such.
Yeah, I think I want to make each of these graphic design parts go to like more content from that, because with Butterbean I have like a whole bunch of stuff I can show. With Girl Power Games I have a bunch of stuff. Same thing with the podcast.
And so one of the things that you might want to do here is you can keep these kind of featured as something you did in graphic design, but add a blog post that's a case study of everything that you did, where you're able to fully articulate, look at all of these assets that I created. This was the design issue or the opportunity. This was my unique solution or approach. And you can share so many different things, and you don't have to say, oh, this was the photography part, this was the graphic design part, this was whatever, because your blog post will eloquently explain how all of those things are interconnected. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Going to jump back here, jumping back. You can see how cumbersome.
Yeah.
So we go to video portraits.
And then these I think I added descriptions. When you click it, it takes you to that same kind of window.
Okay. So that's what I was afraid was going to start happening, because I saw it loading in there, and it's that you never want your videos to autoplay.
Yeah, I have to figure out how to change that because it's a gallery.
Okay.
So maybe if I just don't post them in that gallery format. But I like then that it has the same, like, the way when you click the image, it takes you to that page. When you click the video, it takes you to that. I like that. Like,
I do too.
Look.
I do too. The sort of collage look. It looks, nice from page to page. But again, you want to give people the option to press play on something. I mean, it's great that it doesn't have audio, auto playing the sound on it, because again, you never know where people are when they're starting to look at things, and they don't want to be put on blast, by having a video autoplay. Yeah. Back to work, next to written work. So
this one is like in progress right now.
Okay.
So those don't click to the articles yet, but I'm making a thing on Canva for each.
Okay.
With that's the actual cover photo from each article, and then I'm just putting like and I think I might do different shapes, and like instead of them all being the circle with the dots, like maybe something different for other articles, and then they'll click to the articles. So
I love that you've given me a visual aspect to accompany this, but I would like a little bit of an excerpt too, like maybe just a 2-sentence excerpt, read more, and that can take me to the full article wherever it is, just because this, I just don't know. I don't have the info to make a good decision about which of these I want to click on or why.
Okay.
Right? Where's your contact info?
On the About page.
On the About page. Oh, there. Didn't get to it yet. All right, so just a little bit about you. Contact form, where I can connect online. All this is great. I mean, we've got pictures of you doing your thing and just like more fun stuff of your personality, which all of this is perfect. This is exactly where you should be at this point, which is adding great content and figuring out how does this all work to promote the very multifaceted individual I am. and there's never going to be a right answer. There's an answer that's more right for where you are at the moment.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're going to grow and you're going to change and you're going to get turned on by other things in life, and you'll have to kind of re-steer things in that direction when it happens. But
Yeah.
like, this is perfect for where you are.
I think I finally found though, especially in this like past week,
Mhm.
just being like in my own mind a lot,
Mm-hmm.
that the one thing that ties together everything that I care about
Mhm.
is like the human experience, is the way people react to things and the way it impacts them in a positive
Mhm.
or negative way.
Mhm.
So I think I finally found my like
Mhm.
thing that can pull it all
That's
together
great.
in a way
That's
gonna
great.
make sense.
And it kind of sounds like, even just having this time for Alec, being like, I was at home and I just was, realizing this about myself and what I want to do and where I want to be. Like, okay, yeah, so we missed 2 weeks of class, but it sounds like you guys are making some very, reflective, maybe not decisions, but realizations, so that's cool. All right, so let's jump into Alec's site. So here we've got an awesome picture. We got your name in the forefront, what looks kind of just like an iconic initial logo up here. The color contrast on this is rough. On that blue, it kind of just blends in.
Yeah, when you scroll down, it'll go to like the block and look
Yeah.
better there.
So what I'll say here is above the fold, before I start to have to scroll, like I just really have no idea at all about what it is that you do, other than it looks like you're a really nice guy who likes ice cream and dogs, which is true. That's all the truth. But like, okay, I know that I'm on a portfolio site, but what does this guy do?
Okay.
And like, by the way, guys, I'm recording this feedback, so you'll get the video and you can refer back to it. A little bit of about you. See, like, I just have to keep scrolling in order to get to that, but I'd like to get a little more of an initial impression.
Okay.
So you do the photography, cinematography, and design. But what's interesting, here I've scrolled to 2 sections of your work now, and I still haven't seen anything that's really what you can do.
Okay.
Who I work with, so this is likely going to take me to your client page. So this is fun, right? So like, this logo looks weird.
Yeah, that's a weird one. They sent me a weird logo.
Yeah, so, whoa. Sorry to jump over there. But something needs to be done a little bit with that guy. But I like that you talk about the projects. You are showcasing their logo, but you're not showcasing the work that you did for this client, right? So like, you're saying, oh, I work with these people, but still you haven't shown me anything that you've done.
Okay.
I know that I kind of jumped off into a different spot of the site by going to that button, but that's the whole point, is you can't control how people are going to go through your site, right? And so I've been to 3 or 4 different sections now, and I still haven't seen anything that you've done.
Okay.
I mean, I know that you've built this website too, and a lot of the different things on it, but I know that because I'm your teacher and I'm a fan of your work and knowing what you do. But a stranger isn't going to know those things. So I'm going to go back to that home page and continue to scroll.
It'll take you the same exact thing.
Okay, so my work.
Oh, this is a picture of you.
It's a cute picture of you, but look at the placement of this, right?
Yeah, I
Like,
know,
so
I can't.
that is something that I love the picture, but the placement of this word, the word work here, complicates things. Homepage, nothing really done by you, but nothing featured that you've done. So going to go to portfolio. I'm trying to check out what you do, but you're making it hard for me.
Yeah.
So we've got Arethusa Farms, and still, like, I'm having to go to jump to another place, right? So step after step after step. You tell me that blah, 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 blah. You've done photography for products and different things. Okay. Each one of these things is what? So these are just, so like this is photography stuff at this point. Give me that grilled cheese right now.
I just have
But you've done so much more
Yeah.
for them too. And this is I think a really important part of your portfolio too, just not only for your connection to this as like an entity that you've done a ton of work for, but also the fact that like you really dig this kind of agricultural farm to table, that whole scene, the farm scene and all of that. And so potentially this could be a great segue for other people in these types of industries to come and find you, right? So more of a case study here.
Yeah, I've been trying. I looked at a few other case studies, and I really want to structure this whole page to really look like it was if you went to like an Aerith's website or if you were there on the farm. So like the whole background, I wanted that to be like one big thing where it has a whole descriptor. You scroll down and it shows each individual portion of the stuff I've done, has the issue posts that I've made, and you can kind of understand a little bit of more of what I was doing there. But I just want to put this up for now just to get something for that page.
And it's all really good for now, you know, and just like I was saying for Jessica, it's that like these conversations are meant to shape this next iteration, right? And I would think that your next iteration of this site too is going to have more of a bend of being like, I am an entrepreneur and I am, you know, like whether or not you tag yourself as a company at this point or you are a freelance person who does X, Y, and Z. I mean, you know more about yourself now in that capacity, and so I expect that this site will be revised to reflect that as well. Because while you're down here, like you could be side hustling galore, you know, and building these connections, you know, that can be fruitful for, you know, a long time from now. So also just to point out, so here, in order to get back, I got to go to portfolio again, and then, so going down to design.
Still a mess.
It's a mess. Because here you've given me like, there's no systematic way for me to understand what it is that you've put together. Here I get kind of like this case study, let me drill deeper, but then here I get a smorgasbord and like not a ton of information about each project.
Yeah.
So like the cool thing is, Alec, you've got a lot of great work. You're just not showing it very well at this point. Scrolling down, so here, this probably was going to say photography or something.
Yeah, it's gonna have like a really solid.
Okay.
I want to get a picture of me taking photos or something.
So all that looks great. And this was going to be video work.
Yeah, another thing I was gonna ask too is, do you think it would be good if I just had like separate pages for all those underneath like the portfolio tab? You can click individually into them, and then I'd have just like an introductory page for this, and then click on it and then go to something new. Or
Well, I was thinking maybe something like if you're going to have so many different, you know, like these are all the different things that I can do for you, having kind of like what I was talking about with Jeff, a smorgasbord page that has like a few featured things, and then like a whole separate individualized section for all of these different pieces of work for sure. Get into the custom thumbnail game if you haven't gotten there already. Just this very small, simple thing you can do, not only to like have this stuff showcase in a cool way on, you know, wherever it's embedded, but also it helps with like, you know, optimization of your stuff on various channels. So I like what you've done here too, though, like where you're contextualizing the videos a little bit. That's a good thing moving forward for each one of these things. You know, because if I have a limited amount of time to see what you do and the thumbnail itself doesn't give me, so this thumbnail is like, oh, I won an award for this, but that doesn't show me the video, like the true essence of the video. So if the thumbnail that you've chosen isn't really representative of that work, you're going to run into an issue where someone might not want to push play on this because it doesn't look relevant, you winning an award, or they might push play on it and be like, what's this? I thought it was going to be a video of him getting an award. Right.
Okay.
So last but not least, we're going to jump to connect. It's loaded in, just a simple contact form. This is your Instagram. What's coming in here?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I gotta fix all that stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, you've got a lot of stuff. You've got all the blocks now. Just build something a little bit different because you know a little bit more about what you need to build. I can help you with the issue thing. We'll talk about that if we have time after this, or you're welcome to stay into web for a few minutes and we can look at it then.
Okay.
All right, Leticia. So this is very you from the get-go. It's clean. It is a compliment. It's a compliment because you have a strong, enduring aesthetic in your work. And it makes everything look really buttoned up,
Okay.
if that makes sense, right?
Like my shirt.
Yep, all the way up to the top. All right, so you say right from the get-go, you're a content creator. I know what it is and what you do. You do art and graphic design, and you inspire people in this sort of way. This is your background. This is about you. I really appreciate that you've put this kind of all on the homepage in this way because it doesn't make me guess about it and it doesn't overcomplicate things. I can jump down to your work and it's going to load on up. So here I've got, so this is a Squarespace cover page.
Yes.
Okay. So one thing that I noticed when I clicked in is that my navigation options change.
Okay.
Right? I would want them to be consistent from structure to structure.
Okay.
Right? So here on this page, you only give me these three and then the social media. I would have them,
Everything.
yeah, whatever options you have at that top level navigation when I click in, I'd like to see those on this page too.
Okay.
I'm going to go to the work page. Here you've got a few of your featured projects, which look great. Looks like this one's like having a little trouble loading
Yeah,
in.
I'm adding the photography there.
Okay.
I didn't finish.
Okay, so these are different things. This is branding, this is a video, and on-screen talent, and this is photography work that you've done as a model or that you've taken yourself.
That I took.
Okay. So do you see how this says photography? So I know that this is photography, but this says Suki, and I don't know that this is branding.
Okay.
Okay? And I see that this is detached, but I don't know that's a video, right? So in your portfolio, make it clear like that you've got kind of these funnels of different things, right?
Okay.
Because you went ahead and said that on that on your main page about kind of the content creation and the different areas that you do. So when I hit the work tab, I would expect to see different kinds of content. And by different kinds of content, here's the video, here's the photography, here's the branding or the design. And then from within there is when you're like, here's the video for detach, here's the video for da-da-da, da-da-da.
That's my thing. Like you know how you said that you section your things too much?
Mm-hmm.
I don't section them at all. Because I think it's gonna be like too many sections with like 2 videos each section. So I'd rather have all of my content.
And that's okay too, because we talked with Jess about how you would approach that by showing like a few pieces of featured work. Your portfolios are curated experiences, you guys. It's not everything you've ever done. It's everything you want to show for where you are at the moment and where you want to go with the kinds of work that you want to get, right? So if it's not representative of something you want to do in the future, don't put it on your portfolio because people are going to contact you because they're like, I love what you did with Suki. I want you to do the exact same thing for me. And you're like, actually, that was so 5 months ago. I don't do that anymore.
Okay.
Right? So going to go to your modeling tab. I mean, all of this looks great. They're great pictures. I like that you featured who's done the work there. As I click on them, I also appreciate that you include just like this little bit of context to understand more about the shoot or like your role or experience in it, because part of what you talked about here on this page was through your work and story. And that little paragraph that you take the time to write there, that's part of your story and sharing more about, oh, look at this nice picture. No, there's more to it than that, and here's the story behind it. So I appreciate what you did with that. I actually want to just click on one of these really quick to take us to this page because I just wanted to make sure that you were including that same. I remember seeing the initial version of this, that you have a nice synopsis. It lets me know what like how you created this, and then like specifically what you did on these things, because in most cases you guys aren't operating in a vacuum, meaning that you worked and collaborated with other people, and that's such an awesome thing, because when you get out there in the industry and doing what you do, people want people who know how to work with other people, and so to show that you have experience with that is also awesome. All of the way, I love the way these projects are presented. In fact, like I
I'm gonna work on that. I actually have to write this article.
But so like what I love about this, I love the view of this page the most because here is the picture or the project. I can see it and it, but when I'm getting caught up in my words here. This is kind of like the smorgasbord, right, that we are talking about. So here is the video, it's being featured, I get the information, but I can very quickly jump, to these things here. But when I go to Suki, notice that it says brand creation and design, whereas over here it said detached.
Okay.
So this one is more in line with where it needs to go.
Okay.
Okay. But this page, or this, is better laid out.
Okay. So I'll just.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So like marry them.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to go to the About page. So here I love that you're pulling in your Instagram on this because when we talked about the cohesive aesthetic that you're able to build through this site, it is only complemented further by your Instagram, right? It is really tight.
I just
Go for it.
have one little concern.
Tell me.
Because my Instagram, sometimes I might like Malia's picture all the way down
Mhm.
there. So like that bitch area, and I don't know if that's professional. If I should keep it there.
But the thing is, it's
Is it my brand or like?
yeah, I feel like it's your brand.
Okay. Okay.
I mean,
I don't think it's unprofessional. I think like the picture's cool and like,
Yeah.
movies or whatever.
somebody who's going to hire you wants this person. They don't want somebody who
Okay.
is not authentic, right?
Okay.
And I would say that you do a really nice job of being authentically who you are. And sometimes that is,
Photoshopping Malia.
Yes, right? yeah, it could be something like that.
Okay.
I love that this shows personality too. And I think that you're going to find a better fit with the people who are wanting to collaborate with you because you're being real up front.
Okay.
Under the chat, so just a simple contact form about working together. This is awesome. There are a few tweaks, but I feel like this is really strong.
Okay. I just have a concern.
Tell me.
I don't want my my domain to be the same as my Instagram name.
Okay.
No one knows how to say my name.
Okay.
I kind of want to have I don't know how to do that.
Like creative branding.
Yeah, but I still want people to see me as a person, not as a company.
Got it. So,
Like for example, I don't want to write like Tsuki.com and
Yep.
then people think it's a company,
Sure,
like
sure.
a branding company.
well,
Why not just print it and just be Lele? I don't like. What is your objection to that? I'm curious.
I just I hear my name so much. Like, aren't you tired of your name? I
No.
am.
but you don't have to have.
It's too big. I think it's like
Well,
too
you can
long.
create
Well, so it doesn't have to be. It could be like.
Like what I did was I created a version of my name.
Yeah.
Yeah, Katie Ashley. See, like that's
You could do something like that, or you could do something like, heylele.com.
Oh, that's cute.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
You're welcome. The second great idea.
No, I like okay.
Yeah. So, that is a jumping off point for you to know that it doesn't have to be. I have a friend who's an author, and he has a very common name. It's Tom Lucas, but his domain isn't tomlucas.com. It's Read Tom Lucas.
Okay, yeah.
So.
So I hate Matt Robin. That kind
Yeah,
of thing.
see, I hate that around. Like that's perfect.
Yep.
Which as much as you bother me.
All my BS right there.
Yeah.
All my BS, which is a great segue into All My BS. All right, so we've got Brian's site, which is awesome here. I love that you have a very relevant image right on the top. I will say there is a little bit of some contrast, right?
Oh, can you refresh? Because I don't know if it's gonna. I had to adjust some things while you were doing that. It's not gonna change the cover page, but once you get into the actual website.
Okay. So the white on this light image, you can read it, but it's a little difficult.
Yeah. It looks better on my computer, but I can see now that it's.
It looks better on my computer, but I'm looking at it on my computer and saying that it needs to be better than what I'm seeing on my computer. Up there, it's totally blown out.
Oh yeah, it's
For sure. All right, so we've got your name at the top, All My BS. We get that, we're already feeling the film vibe. You've
Right.
got a quote here from a prominent
Film
filmmaker that this is what it's going to be about, and then we have kind of press play. I kind of wish there was more that lets me know what this is going to be about,
Okay.
right? Just even if it's like what you're like,
Right.
the musings of Brian, or just something that is a little bit more, because this is just basically like a barrier to get to what I really want to get to.
Right.
Like, this is an obstacle
Right.
that I'm just like,
Be a
okay.
little bit more specific.
Yeah, I mean, you could even like throw like Brian Fenn's like film blogger.
Right.
Yes.
So people know what
Yes.
they're looking at.
Exactly. So we have a very big shift in the aesthetic at this
Yes,
point.
I
So
know,
like
yeah,
it
that's
now
something
it's
I need
like
to fix.
totally in a different.
I think just
Why don't you
changing
make the
orange.
text in the front page that orange?
Yeah,
That would stand out.
That's true.
and then the all my BS in white.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
And then
it's
it's gonna be more consistent.
And I don't know how to get the cover page tab off of that bar.
What do you make this on?
Slide it down.
Squarespace, yeah.
I can show you that.
Okay.
So here we go on our homepage. We have your featured posts, so we have featured posts, but there's nowhere really that you've told us that you're a blogger or that you write anything, right? So all of a sudden it's like there's this something that we haven't been set up to understand at this. All My BS is a really great name, but it's almost as if there should be a tagline.
Yeah, I've been trying to develop one.
Okay.
But
I mean, you're already ahead of the game. Like you haven't even gone through web class yet or in portfolio. So like you're at an awesome point to even be making all of these great decisions about your site. So we've got, so these are there's some interesting.
I just need to add I just need to add pictures. To
Okay,
it.
because like the formatting of it is weird. It's like really.
Oh, I thought this was all one. Okay.
No, so it's like here's a review, here's a review, here's a review. I'm going to go ahead and just click on one so that I can get in here. So one of the things that you're going to learn in your next month web class is that people don't like to read online. And so you're going to need to look for ways to break this up and help people get through your content.
Yeah, that's a problem that I'm trying to develop right now is because when I write, I go into a lot of detail and I need to know how to condense my writing. So.
What you could do on this page specifically is you find like some categories and then you rank like out of 5 stars each movie and then you explain why in like a very brief sentence.
That's my problem.
And
I don't know how to be brief.
And that will get your point across.
Well, this is really great keyword-rich content, and I'm not saying that your contextualization and musing here isn't worth this much, articulation.
They're not.
But at the same time, like someone's probably going to come up on this because they're like, I feel like a Christopher Nolan movie tonight, and they like type something in reviews, and then they get to your site and they're just going to be like, Memento, Interstellar, da 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 da. Oh, Batman Begins, and then they go, oh, I'm going to go to Netflix to see if it's there. But if you can make this, Dunkirk is here.
And Nolan is misspelled. It's with an A.
Yes, it's with an.
Yeah.
So it's Nolan, yeah.
I like that.
All right.
Fair
Is it
you.
really?
Yeah,
bad?
yeah, really
Wow.
Okay, so we're gonna just hop through, these a little bit more because I want to just finish this site for Brian here. So we got the watch list. That is your podcast. I love that you have everything coming in here. I'm not a huge fan of how you have everything going extreme widescreen and you don't have any padding or buffers on the side. I would also think that you could probably leverage more of a grid system here, right? So that you have more of like square, square, square across instead of that way.
Yeah.
And then we here have the blog. So that's what was already on the homepage.
Yeah.
How about a little like about Brian or something?
That's
like,
what that is.
What-
I know
where?
of This, but I haven't written it.
Oh.
Wow.
And I need to add some kind of background for people to be able to see the parallax scroll.
Yeah. I mean, this is like I said. You're already half.
Yeah.
You've done
This is
half.
just like a very
You've done
small-
half the work for your web design class already. right? But definitely lots
Lots
that
to do.
needs to happen still with
Sure.
this yet to go. But the cool thing is the rate at which you're developing quality content, and now it's just tweaking and being more strategic about how you present it to get traction.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but also I'm really proud of you too for having your domain name already.
Hey,
Is our podcast up there?
yes.
Let's go check it out.
Listen to it.
So it's going to be on the watch list, and there it is.
Oh my god. We talked about Ida. Super good movie.
Very nice.
Foreign film winning movie of last year.
Oh, okay.
2013.
So this was review of your portfolio sites, and I am going to get this archive processed and posted for you just so that you have what we talked about and you can refer back to it another time. And keep in mind, you guys, that even after you leave your classes with me, this stuff is on the MCBS YouTube account, which means that if 2 months from now you finally get a chance to go back and make the changes that you want to make and you no longer have access to this class and FSO, just let me know. I'll send you the link. It's all there. I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos. All right, you guys.
Recorded too.
That's recorded too. See you next time, Wednesday. Roxanne and I, again, will let you know when we are scheduling Friday's class.